This is an absolute monster female. Huge tail. She's missing her crusher claw. She's probably pushing 100 years old. We'll show you more of her later. We've only hauled 100 traps so far. We got 300 traps left to haul. We're gonna go through them with you. We'll take you back to the beginning. The morning starts pretty early. This time of year, it starts in the dark because it's daylight very late. We just got to where our first traps are. We're looking for our first buoy. We're gonna haul it up. There's about 600 feet of rope on these first ones. See what's inside. It's a nice egg-bearing female out of the first 5. We got 5 traps on every buoy. We've only got, what? We've only been through 2 traps so far. We've already got our first V-notch. Of course, we gotta give her a snack. There she goes. Only 79 to go. Wicked horny fish. Look at the horns on that thing. You can actually feel them vibrating while you hold on to them. And they hurt when they poke you. They'll stab you when you try to reach in and get them out of the trap. Miserable little thing. And they also signify the tail end of our fishing season. The lobster fishery is open year-round in Maine, but in the winter we slow down a lot. The fishing is not as good. These guys usually come along behind the lobsters. So we'll usually have a run of lobsters in the fall. When these guys show up at the end of it, they kind of follow the lobsters. Seeing these guys is not a good sign. Get away, Cody! Get out of the way.
Man, oh man, that's close.
Well, it's quite miserable here this morning. Nasty northeast chop. The weathermen always get northeast wrong. If they're calling for 10 to 15, you can add them together. There's another big one. She's got a ton of eggs. It's estimated there's roughly 10,000 eggs per pound. So she's got about 40,000 eggs. Cody's all over the snack this morning. Somebody's already given her an notch. She's going home to make some babies. We just do day trips. So today we have 400 traps to haul. We're gonna go through all 400 and then we just go home at the end of the day. So the weather is deteriorating pretty quickly. The tide is just turning. The chops are turning into mountains. It's extremely rough. I would dare say we got closer to 30 knots of wind and I feel terrible. I told Jeremy that it was gonna be a decent day. Wow, for his first day. And I brought him out here in this. He's been seasick literally since before the first buoy. Forgot to introduce Jeremy. He's the cameraman. He came out to help us make this video and bring it to you today. Of course, when people are seasick on the boat, it's just a thing. We got to aggravate them for it. You hand them your tuna fish sandwich and you tell them it'll make them feel much better. They eat that and throw it up. There's just not a lot of sympathy on the boat when somebody gets seasick. We've all dealt with it. Me, Keith, Cody. We've all been seasick on the boat. When we do, it makes for a long, miserable day. Jeremy, tell me how you're feeling.
Oh my gosh, dude, this isn't what I signed up for today. I feel awful. I'd feel better if you guys weren't such jerks about it.
I'm sorry, Jeremy. It's just the way it is.
Tough it out, Jeremy.
If you're looking for some sympathy though, like the iPad's right there. We got Starlink. You can log right into BetterHelp, and you could get a therapist right online, right out here, and you could probably find some sympathy. So BetterHelp is actually online therapy. You can get a therapist anywhere in the world you want. And they're actually the sponsor of today's video, so thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring the video. Sponsors like them who make bringing Jeremy on the boat to document stuff like this and bring it to you possible. BetterHelp is very convenient for people located in remote locations where people might have a tough time finding a therapist. So whether you're struggling with depression, anxiety, or if you're stuck on a boat in the middle of the Gulf of Maine, seasick, dealing with fellow fishermen aggravating you, whatever your problem may be, BetterHelp has a therapist and a solution to you. If you don't like your therapist, they can switch you out with a new one, convenient and quick. You can be connected in minutes. I'm going to be leaving a link to BetterHelp in the description. You guys can go check them out. Hold it. Look at that one. That's a female. She's soft, ain't she?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at the size of her tail. This is an absolute monster female. Huge tail. Oftentimes these big ones, we only catch them when they're missing their crusher claw, because if she had her crusher claw, she wouldn't have been able to fit in the trap. It's estimated they're roughly 7 years old to a pound. This lobster's probably 10, 11, 12 pounds, somewhere in there, especially if she had her crusher claw. She's probably pushing 100 years old. It's pretty crazy to think about it. My father, grandfather, and great-grandfather have fished the same area. And the lobster this old, it's possible that they've all caught her. Pretty crazy to think about, right, Keith?
It is. Look how big. Look at her tail compared to my hand.
She doesn't have a notch, surprisingly. Lobsters this size don't have much muscle compared to the weight of their shells. They can't move their shells when they're out of the water, only when they're in the water, especially when they recently shed. She appears to be super weak, but she's perfectly fine once she's in the water. But being out of the water makes it look like she's weaker than she is. These swimmerettes, you see the hairs on her swimmerettes. These are what the eggs attach to when she pushes them out. So she is capable of breeding. We're gonna give her a notch. She is oversized here, so regardless of the notch, we wouldn't be able to keep her, but if she crawled into Canada or some other places, she could be kept. So that notch will protect her even in those other locations. She's way too soft and way too old and tired to take a snack. We would give her one if she would take it, but her claw's not working. So we're just gonna send her home. She's gonna make some babies. These are the best ones at making babies because they're so large. It's estimated they can grow about 10,000 eggs per pound. This is around a 10-pound lobster, so every time she breeds, she grows about 100,000 eggs. Let's send the big mama home. Here she goes. We're doing something new. We got Starlink on the boat. We're live streaming as we're hauling. It's a pretty big hit. And once we hit a certain donation goal, we're gonna bite the head off a fish. We did it yesterday. The pogee's pretty nasty. The herring isn't too bad. Hopefully I get the herring and Keith gets the pogey. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Tri. Thank you, Floyd. 12,000 people in the live stream. That is wild. Looks like an alien.
That's not normal.
Look at his claws. Probably if you don't know a lot about Maine lobster claws, they look normal, but that is actually, that's really, that is crazy. We just caught this very strange lobster. We're filming a YouTube long too. So if you hear me talking like out of the frame, I'm talking to the camera. You guys are in the YouTube long as well. I've never seen lobster claws like this actually. The claws are as long as the body. Very bizarre. That's the 50 goal? All right. Let me finish hauling this, then we're going to start a poll to figure out if we're going to bite the pogey or the herring. Two days in a row. Well, the goal for the stream was 500K, so. She might be too big. She's close. We got one that's pretty close. She's a female. She's got no eggs, no notch. If she's under 5 inches, we're allowed to keep her. If she's not, we'll throw her back. She's a keeper, actually.
Hey!
Nice female keeper.
Big money.
Keith's next. When we hit the coral goal, Keith's up next. All right.
Don't be shy either.
We're doing the live stream. They voted that I bite the head off a pogey.
Okay, but why?
Unfortunately. It was between a herring and a pogey. And they voted pogey. This is, you guys are evil.
I have to enjoy. Savor it.
I'm actually dreading this really badly.
I actually gagged a little bit watching. Yeah! 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 I love you guys!
Wow!
Yeah!
The crunch.
Oh. Yes!
That was evil. All right, here we go. What's the results? Pogey for the win! Let's go, Pogey!
Hi!
Cody, go get a good pogey.
What did I do to you?
What did I do to deserve this?
Big pogey for Keith, too.
It's gonna decide our friendship.
I'll let you do it.
Hey, you gotta make sure I can see it too.
Okay. Come on, hey, you gotta get the head up.
The dangling thing in my throat. I'm gonna puke.
You gotta... He remembers it. All right. Good job, Keith. There's another big one, just like this morning's, only this one's a male. Big old buck, oversized. Missing his crusher claw again. The tide has now turned, and it has gotten a lot rougher like we suspected. It's pretty miserable. Well, the end is in sight. We finally made it to the last buoy of the day. We're pulling up to it right now. It's absolutely miserable. The chops, some of these chops, I don't know, must be 10 feet deep. They're not a sea, they're a chop. They're deep and picking. Barrow's going right out of sight.
All right.
There she is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, we made it through them. There goes the last one of the day. We got a miserable ride home ahead of us. The wind is east-northeast. We got to run pretty much side to it all the way home. 10-foot chop right off the starboard rail. It's going to suck. So we got about an hour ride home. We got to sell the lobsters that we got on the boat. We got to put fuel on for the next day, and we got to put some bait on for the next day. Cody somehow wiggled his way out of biting the pogie 2 days in a row, but little does he know, he didn't get out of it quite just yet. Got out of it 2 days in a row. What do you mean? The live viewers, they got sold short. I had to bite a pogie. Keith had to bite a pogie.
What do you mean? Didn't they pay for it?
If you missed it, that's right. Here, okay. So he chewed it up. All right. So if you missed it, I had to bite a pogie earlier. Keith had to bite a pogie earlier on live. Come on, hey, you gotta get that up.
The dangling thing right through.
Cody was due to go next, but we got banned from TikTok Live before we got a chance to do it. So we'll be back with TikTok Lives after December 10th. We just had to make sure you got your money's worth out of Cody because we got banned before he had to eat the bait.
I didn't think he was gonna do it.
What?
There's something between my teeth.
He even chewed it up.
I saw it.